All right. Hey, everyone. How's it going? My name is Philip Moldavanu. I'm the co-founder of Social Scout Email Marketing. I've generated over $5 million in added revenue for my clients using only Klaviyo. And my agency, Social Scout, is a member of Klaviyo's partner program. So today, I'm going to be covering absolutely everything you need to know in order to get your account set up for Black Friday. So I'm going to talk about everything you need to do in terms of pop-up forms, flows, campaign schedules, all that good stuff I'm going to cover. I'm not going to waste any time. This is going to be a very information-dense video. If you implement everything I'm about to cover in this document, and it doesn't result in added revenue for your brand, send me an email. I'll put it in the description. I'll personally Venmo you $200 if that doesn't happen, right? If you're watching this video, you probably fully understand the importance of Q4 and just of Black Friday for e-commerce. It's pretty much like the Super Bowl of e-commerce. The cost of ads is going to go through the roof, and that's kind of why email is so incredibly important to really have dialed in, right? Like your email subscribers are a warm audience. They already know your brand, they already like your brand, and they trust your brand, right? So it costs you basically nothing to send them an email and get seen by a shopper and make a sale, right? So with that being said, here is everything I'm going to cover today, right? So where I see most brands go wrong, common pitfalls, common mistakes to avoid, right? Then I'm going to go into email deliverability, how to build hype and increase FOMO, teaser email strategies, pop-up form tweaks. Then I have different flow diagrams I'm going to go over. So how to set up your welcome series, your abandoned cart, your abandoned checkout, your post-purchase flow, right? How to do all these things specifically for Black Friday. And then finally, I'm going to talk a little bit about campaign sending and what the optimal schedule is and how many campaigns you should be sending during Black Friday, right? So before we get into everything, I'm sure some of you are probably like, who is this guy? Like, what does he know about Klaviyo, right? So like I mentioned at the start, I run a full service Klaviyo email marketing agency for e-commerce brands specifically, and I've generated over $5.1 million in revenue for my clients. So my team and I work specifically with Klaviyo, no other platform, and we're also, like I said at the beginning, a member of Klaviyo's partner program. So we work with 7 as well as 8-figure e-commerce brands. We manage pretty much everything in their account. We're a completely done-for-you service. I also offer free audits for e-commerce brands, and trust me, I've seen pretty much everything you can think of inside of accounts. If you want me to do a free audit on your account, by the way, and kind of just tell you what the main pain points are, give you kind of like some action items, feel free to book on my calendar. I'll put that in the description below. But let's get into it. So, probably the biggest mistake that I see brands make is really just not changing anything for Black Friday. So you cannot run your normal email setup for Black Friday. It just won't work. Sure, you'll probably still see an increase in revenue because, yeah, you're running promotions and your ads are firing, but you won't make nearly as much as you could have, if you had just spent some time in setting up Black Friday specific flows, campaign schedules, and kind of really investing your time into setting up for Black Friday on the email side of things, right? So here are the main things that you need to focus on when thinking about, prepping your Klaviyo for Black Friday, right? So for one, you have your email deliverability. So that needs to be dialed in prior to the start of your Black Friday email sends. We cannot afford to be wasting sends and, not have people seeing your emails. I'm going to talk about that actually more in depth in the next slide, actually. But another massive part of your Black Friday strategy is your flows, right? So you need to be building entirely separate flows for Black Friday. They need to be shorter, more aggressive, to kind of help with that urgency, because like I mentioned, a million different brands are fighting for inbox space, so we can't afford to have long delays. And I'll talk a little bit more about what you need to do there. And then kind of the next aspect that I want to touch on here is campaigns, right? So campaigns need to be sent way, way more frequently during your Black Friday sale. This time of year specifically is an all-out war for inbox space. On Black Friday itself, we send 2, honestly, even 3 emails for my clients on the day, November 29th, because, if you send an email at 9 a.m., it's already buried by 10 a.m. from a million of other brands fighting for that inbox, right? Also, the reason we can get away with sending this many emails is because shoppers during this time are much more tolerant to emails, right? They kind of subconsciously expect more emails being sent their way. So you can kind of get away with more sends, right? But next, your pop-up form should look a lot different than what you normally would run year round. I'll talk a little bit more about what you need to change about it. And then finally, probably one of my favorites is how you can use teasers and, sneak peeks to kind of build hype and build anticipation within your subscriber base. It's a great way to make sure that your campaigns are hitting and that your sales are hitting when you actually start running those promotions, right? So email deliverability. Here's kind of like a 30-second crash course on deliverability. So every account, right? Every Klaviyo account has what's called a sender reputation. Think of it like a credit score, right? So that sender reputation is basically built up over time based on how your subscribers are actually interacting with your content, right? So, if your emails aren't really being opened, if you have really high unsubscribe rates, stuff like that, Gmail, Outlook, Yahoo, right? Like all those different inbox providers and those platforms, they're going to see that. And that's going to make your sender reputation go down, right? That's why it's super important to only send emails to engaged subscribers throughout the year, right? And when I say engaged subscribers, I mean, 90-day openers, 120-day openers. There's really no point in, sending emails out to people who haven't opened one of your emails in like the last 6 months, right? Like it just doesn't make sense. All it's going to do is lower your domain reputation, right? So with that being said, the only time you should be sending to your entire list is during Black Friday, right? Black Friday is much different, right? You actually want to kind of open up your sending and send emails to pretty much everyone, right? Because a lot of people will kind of come back from the dead, right? Like Black Friday is a huge time of year. Consumers prepare for it just as much as we do, right? So a lot of those people who normally wouldn't have opened your emails, they're actually going to start checking out your content to kind of, spy a little bit and see what type of deals they can get, right? So since we're going to be opening up and kind of sending to our entire list now for Black Friday, it's very important to make sure that your deliverability is in a good spot prior to the start of this, right? Because inevitably, our sender score and our sender reputation is going to take a small hit after Black Friday, but it's well worth the risk considering all the added revenue that you're going to be able to bring in from some of those extra profiles that you otherwise wouldn't have been sending to, right? So that's my little crash course on deliverability. I hope that helped. Let's get into the details. So I'm going to start with building hype and kind of using teasers, right? So about 2 weeks out from the start of your big Black Friday sale, you're going to want to get people excited and kind of get them thinking about your brand, right? So the way you're going to do this is by sending a text-based email from the founder of the company, right? It's going to make it feel much more personal, much more intimate, and it's going to really catch people's attention when it's just kind of a few sentences of text, right? So the general message of the email here, I put an example here for one of our clients. The general message is going to be along the lines of like, hey, Michael, for example. Hey, Michael, I'm the founder of Apple, right? Whatever the company name is. And I just wanted to reach out with some really exciting news, right? We've been working hard on something very special for Black Friday. And, our deals are going to be the biggest we've ever offered in the history of our company. I can't wait for you to see what we've got in store. Kind of get ready and we'll see you there, right? That's basically what the message is going to read. Feel free to write it however you want, obviously, but this is how we did it for one of our clients here. It worked very well. The overall goal here is just to kind of tease people a little bit, right? Get them thinking about your brand. And we're really just trying to stand out a bit from the other brands that are, like I said, fighting for that inbox space, right? So an email like this is really going to stick out with someone. And we're basically just kind of putting ourselves on the shopper's radar ahead of time, right? So when the sales drop, they're already thinking about us, right? And teaser emails like this, in my experience, they kill. And I would 100% send at least 3, and I'm going to get into the other 2 in a second. They're very low effort as well, especially this one. As you can imagine, it probably took 5 minutes for us to write. And there's not much design elements in this email specifically, right? So that's teaser email number 1, right? If we go on, the next teaser email is going to be a gift guide, right? So this one is pretty straightforward as well. You're going to want to create a gift guide, put together some of your best sellers, organize your products by, percentage off, all that stuff. Basically, you kind of want to give people, a path to follow and just explain to them like what's going to be on the menu, right? Give them a little sneak peek. Inadvertently, that's going to be building hype, right? So, some ideas and I guess some examples of what you can put in the gift guide, right? So for the fitness lover, right? Highlight some of your best workout gear or best workout clothing, must-haves for the winter season, top picks under $50, right? Like stuff like that. I'm sure a lot of you watching this have probably put together a gift guide before. It doesn't have to be super complicated. The overall goal here is you're putting certain products on people's radar and you're kind of getting them ready and you're priming them for when those products do go on sale. And now for kind of the cherry on top, the final teaser email that I always like to send. This kind of just wraps it all up, and it should be, the last teaser that you send before you start rolling out your deals, right? So this is going to be kind of teasing, a mystery deal or a mystery product, even if you're launching a new product during Black Friday, which I always recommend doing, best time of year to do it. What you're going to do is you're basically just going to, tease the product or tease the deal, start with a subject line that kind of catches people's attention, right? Something like these that I've listed here. The biggest deal of Black Friday, Cyber Monday is coming, but we're keeping it a secret, right? Our most exciting product ever drops on Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Are you ready? Right? Stuff like this, in my experience, just really works well. And then you're just going to want to write some copy kind of hinting at the new product or hinting at the deals. Something like, we can't spill all the details just yet, but let's just say this is something our team has been working on all year. Mark your calendar, right? And then make sure to include, a graphic with either like a blurred out product if you're launching a new product, or just kind of like a timer that counts down until your deal starts, right? This is really just kind of the final push we're doing in order to get people ready for our sale, keep them kind of guessing a little bit, and just build some more anticipation, build some more excitement, with our deals and with our brand for Black Friday, right? So that's a bit on how to use teasers. Let's talk about what to do with your pop-up form for Black Friday, right? So you're most likely going to be getting much higher site traffic during the month of November in general. But there's huge opportunity to grow your list and just kind of drive more people into your welcome series, right? With that being said, you shouldn't be running, your usual pop-up form, right? And while your Black Friday sale period is actually live, you need to turn off your pop-up form completely, right? But I'll touch on that in a second. But the first thing you're going to want to do about 1 to 2 weeks out from the start of your big sale, you're going to want to change the copy on your form from whatever it is now, whether it's like a 10% off incentive, a mystery gift, like whatever you're running now, change it to something more related to Black Friday, like early access, right? So for example, it could read something like, get early access to Black Friday Summer Wonder deals, biggest sale ever coming, right? So another really important thing to note here is that if you don't do this, right, your submission rate on your form will drop significantly, because if you think about it, right, like who wants to claim 10% off 1 week before they know that there's like a massive Black Friday sale coming, right? Where they're probably going to be getting upwards of 40% off, right? So it just doesn't make sense from the consumer's perspective, and less people are actually going to be giving you their email and signing up, right? So definitely make sure to tweak that in your form. Also, if you're not running an exit intent pop-up form, now would be the perfect time to do that. They're very effective and kind of like a last-ditch effort to capture email addresses, right? So what I'm about to say now, super important. If you couldn't tell by the massive bolded important text I put right here, but when your sale is actually live, right? So when your 40% off or your 50% off site-wide discount actually starts and is live, you need to turn off your main pop-up form completely. Just disable it, right? If you don't turn it off, what's going to happen is your conversion rate on your site will go down. And the reason it's going to go down is because while your sale is running, your entire site most likely will be kind of plastered with messaging around your massive Black Friday discounts, right? So if a shopper lands on your site during the sale, they're ready to buy, right? Like their credit card in hand, they're not ready to sign up for an email list, right? So giving them a pop-up just kind of interrupts the shopper and kind of interrupts the user experience, and that's not what we want, right? Also, there's just not much more we can offer the shopper in terms of an incentive if we're already offering like 50% off discounts, right? So why would people even sign up for your email list in the first place, right? So it just kind of hurts conversions to run it while the sale is live. I turn it off with all my clients and it helps a ton. So definitely disable it and turn it back on when your sale has ended, right? So that's pop-up forms. Now that we've covered pop-ups, let's get into Black Friday specific flows, right? So I put together some diagrams for these flows. Feel free to copy them and use them for yourselves. The general idea of Black Friday flows is that they should be much shorter and they should fire a lot faster, right? So a standard abandoned cart flow that we build for clients is anywhere from 6 to 8 emails long, spread across about a week and a half. That's kind of just what we found converts best. During Black Friday, things are super hectic, right? They're super fast paced. Most likely when someone abandons their cart during Black Friday, for example, they're shopping around probably with 5, 6 different brands looking for the best deal, right? So we cannot afford to waste time, right? We need to remind them as fast as possible about their product and kind of like our deal, and really stay top of mind with them before they go elsewhere and just shop with another brand, right? Also, another reason, the Black Friday sale period itself just isn't super long to begin with. So again, we can't waste time by putting people through the standard, 1.5 to 2 week abandoned cart flow, for example, right? So you're going to want to build shorter flows with much faster delays in between emails that kind of, get in there as quick as possible and just don't waste any time, right? So this is the Black Friday welcome flow that you should be setting up for your brand, right? So it's much, much different than what you're probably used to for a welcome flow, right? I know, you're probably thinking like, why is this flow only a single email long, right? But when your sale is running, remember, we turned our main pop-up form off completely. It's disabled now, right? So that means there's going to be a lot less people going through your welcome series in the first place, right? And for the people who do end up signing up for some reason, maybe in the footer form of your site, sending them, multiple emails spread across a week and a half, like your welcome flow should normally be, it's just kind of a waste of their inbox space and a waste of, that precious time during the busiest and the most crowded time of year for email, right? So also the messaging in your standard welcome flow should be, giving them their discount, kind of educating them on the brand and stuff. So that wouldn't really apply for Black Friday, since the entire site is already so massively discounted, right? So only one email for this flow. The content of the email should simply be kind of just educating people on your sale and the different discounts that they can receive. Show some best sellers with their respective discounts and kind of add an element of urgency to the email as well, and have a ton of clear, visible call to actions. I should be seeing buttons, in multiple locations, high up above the fold. Don't put your buttons, down to the middle or the end of the email where no one can see them, right? It should be as easy as possible for people to, open the email, see a call to action, see a button, go to your site, right? So feel free to use this diagram for yourself. I'll link to this entire document in the description of this video as well. But that's the welcome flow there. So next we have the abandoned cart and abandoned checkout flows. So these flows are pretty much identical, right? Obviously there's minor differences, but I'll use the abandoned cart diagram to kind of explain it. You're going to keep these flows to only 3 emails long. And the main thing I want to highlight here is the time delays in between emails, right? So the first email, goes out just 20 minutes after a shopper abandons their cart without purchasing, right? Normally that would be around an hour, right? The second email goes out 4 hours after that. So they're receiving 2 abandoned cart emails on the same day, basically. And then finally, the last email goes out 1 day after that. So as you can see, it's pretty aggressive here. You wouldn't really be able to pull this off if we weren't in Black Friday. A lot of people would just be unsubscribing and they'd be getting annoyed. But like I said, people during this time are much more tolerant of stuff like this because it's kind of expected, right? And so as far as the copy and the content of these emails, again, it should really just be stressing the exclusivity of the sale and the products, add some urgency, maybe mention something about limited stock or the sale is ending soon, highlight some risk reversals like, free shipping, money back guarantees, all that good stuff, testimonials, the usual stuff you want to put in an email. Make sure to include that, right? And so again, feel free to reference the diagram to kind of structure the actual content in your emails. Another really important thing that I want to mention here is the filters, right? So, if you see here, one of the filters is someone has been in this flow 0 times in the past 2 days, right? So this is a lot different than what a normal abandoned cart / checkout would be. Normally, this filter would be someone has been in this flow 0 times in the past 30 days, right? So we're basically opening it up so that if someone abandons their cart again 2-3 days later, they're going to be still eligible to be added to this flow again and receive our emails again, right? Because we want to be a little bit more pushy during this time, right? And it's okay, like I said, to be a little bit more pushy and a little bit more aggressive, right? So yeah, this and the abandoned checkout flow is pretty much the same concept, except obviously the triggers are going to be different. The trigger for our abandoned cart is obviously going to be added to cart, while the trigger for an abandoned checkout flow is going to be checkout started, right? So minor differences there, but again, same skeleton here, right? And same concept. So moving on, we have the post-purchase flow. So this flow is super crucial during Black Friday, especially because everyone is in a buying mindset, right? So it's very easy to upsell or cross-sell someone after they make a purchase, right? So you're going to want to send the first email immediately after someone purchases from you, right? Immediately. We're going to first thank them, right? We're going to thank them for their purchase. We're excited to receive it, all that typical stuff that you'd normally include. And then what you're going to do is you're going to show some other, preferably lower ticket, best-selling products. Maybe some products that complement the product they purchased. These are going to be just much more likely to hit and actually lead to a purchase because, like I mentioned, people are kind of in a buying mindset during Black Friday. Generally, after a purchase, there's generally a feeling of euphoria and kind of excitement whenever someone makes a purchase that they're happy about. So we want to kind of capitalize on that and strike the iron while it's hot and kind of show them some other products that they might like, right? And then the second email here is going to be firing 12 hours after the first email. And again, the goal of this email is to get them thinking about buying other products for maybe their family members, their friends, their loved ones. We're essentially going to be sending them, like popular gift ideas that might pique their interest, right? And the holiday season's coming up as well. Christmas is coming up, right? So a lot of potential here to upsell for family members, friends, loved ones, right? So that's going to be the general emphasis on the second email here. And yeah, I mean, this is just a phenomenal way to just not only boost your average order value, but also just kind of pique people's interest more, with some other products you offer, right? So I encourage you, please use this diagram here. Again, will be in the description. All right, so next we have the browse abandonment flow. So the browse abandonment flow is for people who simply, view a product and then leave the website without buying anything, right? So one thing to note, this obviously only deploys for people that, we already have their email on file, right? So I don't know, let's say someone signed up for your email list 6 months ago and now they're back on your site kind of spying on your deals. They view a product, but then they leave the site, right? We can now run them through this flow and recover that since we have their email address on file, right? So if someone viewed a product, that's a pretty strong indicator of interest that they've shown, and we cannot afford to kind of just let that go to waste. So that's kind of the overall emphasis and aim of this flow, right? So this is how you're going to want to structure it for Black Friday. Everything is in here for you. Take note of the filters. They are pretty particular, but nothing in here will stump you. Again, feel free to send me an email if you get stuck on anything. I'd be happy to help. But that's browse abandonment. And then finally, the last Black Friday flow that I'm going to go over is the site abandonment flow, right? So this flow is literally, and I really mean this, just free revenue, right? Every single e-commerce brand should be running this flow. I very rarely see a brand with this flow built out when I do one of my audits. So this is a very similar flow to the browse abandonment flow. The only difference is it's triggered when someone simply, visits the website and then leaves without taking any other actions, right? So it's a very low intent, but again, it is still some intent, right? Low intent is still intent. So they displayed interest in our brand. So we want to simply send them just a single email to try to recover them and at least get them back to the site, get them viewing some products, right? Again, here, just kind of highlighting the urgency, showing some products to kind of pique their interest, and again, just staying top of mind with them. Something that goes a long way when you have all these brands fighting for their attention, right? So that's that. And then now comes the final piece of your email strategy during Black Friday, which is campaigns, right? So campaigns during Black Friday are extremely, extremely important. They carry a pretty big part of the sales during this period. So, during the week of Black Friday, non-negotiable, you need to be sending one campaign per day during the actual week of Black Friday, right? I know you're probably thinking like, that's that's way too much. I'm going to fatigue my list. People are going to hate me. They're going to unsubscribe. No, right? Remember, this isn't a normal week, right? It's Black Friday, Cyber Monday. This is probably, arguably, the only week in the entire year where you can kind of get away with something like this, with sending a campaign every single day, right? So on Black Friday and on Cyber Monday themselves, so on November 29th and on December 2nd, on these days in particular, you need to send at least 2, preferably even 3 emails on this day alone, on this single day, right? Like that's it. Those are the days. I mentioned at the start of the video, every single brand is going to be firing multiple campaigns on Black Friday and on Cyber Monday themselves. If you're only sending one email on that day, it's going to get buried extremely quickly and nobody's going to see it, right? If you send an email at 9 o'clock, by 11 o'clock, it's buried down to the bottom of their inbox and they're probably not going to open it, right? So down here, I gave kind of some time frames that we like to stick to that work the best for us, at least. So kind of follow this time frame for reference. You're going to want to send your first email around 9 a.m., right? Then your second email, around noon, lunchtime, midday, 1 p.m. works. And then your third and final email should be sent kind of in the evening, so around 4 or 5 o'clock. Don't send it any later than 5. In my experience, just kind of isn't great for conversions. If you're only planning on sending, 2 emails for some reason, which is totally fine, send one at 9 a.m. and then another around 3, 4 p.m., right? So kind of space them out that way. But again, pretty straightforward here. Basically, the moral of the story here, don't overcomplicate it. Just send a lot more campaigns, right? Like I said, a lot of prep that goes into this, cannot be overlooked, which is why, you need to be moving quick and kind of getting your Black Friday schedules kind of locked in and getting your flow set up and, tweaking your pop-ups and whatnot, right? So yeah, that about wraps it up for this video. If you want more free email marketing tips and just content in general, I have a free weekly newsletter where I basically just kind of spill more of the sauce, I guess, on the systems and the processes that I use in my agency with my clients. A lot of valuable stuff in there that I honestly could be charging for. You can sign up at inboxinsider.net/subscribe. Also, like I said, the link is also in this document, which I'm going to put in the description. And then also, if you'd like any help with anything I went over today, or just kind of would be interested in a free strategy session with me where I can just give you, some action items for your account, please let me know, or just kind of, book a time on my calendar using this form here. And I'd be happy to help. So yeah, feel free to kind of check out some of my other social media here. I have content going up pretty frequently on Instagram as well as X. And yeah, I hope you got some value out of this video. I appreciate you watching until the end, and I wish you good luck this upcoming Black Friday. Bye-bye.